Good afternoon, everybody. This is Joy LaCharest. I hope you're finding me on all channels. I do not see a button on here that says it's going to go to mature musicians. So let me look in. Yeah, I'm like about a minute early here. But I'm looking here and see on my phone if I can find a share button. So give me just a moment and we will continue. Oh, that was James. See if I've got anything here. Yeah, I'm live here. Now where to say share? Yeah, well, guys. It's James. Share. And let's get my group. All right, I hit matured musicians and post. Hopefully we're live there. So to begin, I have a guest here. This is James Crawford Talma, a friend of Talma, a friend of mine, and he's going to talk about his new program. Before that, I'm going to introduce my sponsor, and then we will get started interviewing James. We are a bit early, so now it's saying 2 o'clock here, but live it says, okay, never mind. Anyway, if you have any production needs or studio needs that you have trying to find a studio to go to that's trustworthy, honest, and can help you, we're talking about Luscious Moss Studio, owned and operated by Chad Quist in Edgewood, Washington. If you recognize the name, he is the lead guitarist for Heart by Heart band, and you can find them on Facebook. You can also find Chad's studio there, either Luscious Moss Studio or Chad Quist in Edgewood, Washington. He originally started for opening his store for production of for drummers and guitarists, and now he takes everybody more or less with certain needs, and I'm one of them. I've been lucky, and I've been with him some time, and I can recommend him. So with that, hi, James. I'm glad you're with us today.
Hi, Joy. How are you doing?
I'm fine. So I know I've had you on before, and it was kind of a calamity. We had a misconnection. So now today we got a second try. So
Yep, we sure do.
Right. Can you tell me a little bit about your background, James? So why you're doing that? Just keep going because I'm going to log out. I forgot my water and I'm going to run to get it.
Okay, so how
I,
far back? How far back do you want to go?
well, I want you to start out with when you started with music and who your influences were, and then how that brought you up today. I'm going to hate to miss this, so talk slow. All right, I'll be right back, James. Go ahead. You're on.
Oh, okay, so we basically what I did is I've played music for most of my life. As a kid, my mom was a drummer, and she gave me toys to play with, but I didn't really get serious until I was around 28, and I just got in with the garage band and got kind of started, and um, some things happened with the band, and it broke up. Typical things when you're young, and the way it broke up um, was it basically broke up because of indiscrepancies in the band. And I decided at that point, because I was just singing at that point, that I was going to start trying harder on the guitar. And so that was the point where I changed my direction and started playing the guitar.
All right.
Did that cover it?
Well, yes, but I'd like to know how that brought you. When was your first gig? Did you get paid for it? And how did that bring you to the path where you've recorded your first song? And Run With Me, I believe. Is
Um,
that correct?
well, what counts as far as getting paid? I mean, are you talking about like a tip or?
No, like you pay your first paying gig. Did you, I know
Okay.
you have a band. I met one of your players, I think, or at least his wife. Um, and I never really found out when your first gig was.
Well, I mean, the first time I played a gig, actual gig, it was up here, and it was just kind of got joined in with another band. I didn't really, it wasn't my band, you
Ah,
know,
okay.
but I mean, that was really the first time I ever really got paid, but I really enjoyed that, influence with, another other bands. But I have a tendency of being able to, I guess, meld well with other musicians. I just have a talent for that. Um, that's kind of like one of the things I like to do. I'm kind of like, that way. But with most bands that I've been with, you know, it's been really kind of was a tough deal to get them to actually get somewhere.
Yeah.
I don't know if
Yeah. Well,
I don't,
that's still how old, James, still today.
you know, but it's really tough, and so that's when I decided that I really wanted to get my music out there, and I just decided that I'm just going to go rogue and go with paid musicians. It's really easier to deal with paid musicians than it is to deal with a band.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I
Yeah, I get you. So, as a result, you became an independent artist, correct?
yeah, that's what happened. Yeah,
And I'm interested knowing now. I knew you as James Crawford from we shared some time together at the Oxford Saloon,
right.
and then as you got started with your project, you added the word Talma at the end. Can you explain to me what this is and when that all started, and you got your song? When was the first time you got the song "Run with Me" out there?
Okay, well, I was basically I've been playing that song for a long time.
Yeah, I heard it
I
at the Oxford the first time.
Yeah, I mean, I've been playing that song since the first time I went in the Oxford. That was the song that I was playing.
Yeah.
Um,
Yes.
so that's, I mean, that was a long time ago. But you know, I really kind of got going with that song because as any other kind of song, it kind of develops as it goes along.
Right.
And I think it really was the connection with other musicians that made the song what it is today.
Well, what is this Talma? What is that? What does that stand for? Is
Um,
that your
well, Talma is actually my middle name,
ah, okay.
and there's a lot of James Crawfords out there,
Wow.
but there's no James Crawford Talamas out
Talma.
there.
Perfect.
And
Okay.
and really, with some thought there, to that, so that people could connect with me and know who I am.
Right.
So, I mean, I flirted with the idea of being Talma crazy, and
Well,
um,
you've used that too. Uh, yes. How do you use Talma Crazy?
well, Talma Crazy is a song that's connected with missing children.
Yeah. That's your project. And that's what's different from the last time I interviewed you.
Yeah.
I don't know if you'd already started that or not. Can you remember? It's about a year ago, right?
I no, I don't think I had. Well, I kind of was
Time
probably
flies.
in the like first stages of starting to put some words together. What happened with Talma Crazy is that I basically just started um seeing a lot of missing indigenous people, and there was some movements that were there, and I was thinking to myself, I should do something, so um everything kind of happens by mistake, really.
Yeah.
um
I can't say that, but
well, I mean, really, it's the truth, because I mean, I started with um with Run With Me Talma. And
Right.
before I knew it, it was, up to 80,000 streams on Spotify, 8 months on the top 10 in Reverb Nation in Seattle. And it just went crazy.
So let
So,
me clarify, is this missing children? I mean, I know the answer, but I'm going to ask you anyway. Uh, is that missing children per se everywhere, or is that missing children here in the United States and indigenous, or is it for
well,
everybody?
what affected me was the indigenous part of it. That's what got me started with the song.
Hmm.
Um, the actual Talma Foundation, which is an actual foundation that I started, um, and the foundation is to missing children. Now, that's not just missing indigenous; that's missing children. Period. So, I don't think that our forefathers, would really like the idea of us, just being indigenous children, but also children all over the
Everybody's.
world.
That sounds like something tribal. In other words, not only caring for the earth, but caring for the world's children.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, speaking of Indigenous people, would you mind if I asked you questions regarding that? And
No.
okay, well, when I first met James, we were talking, and I believe you said you belong to a tribe from back east. Is that correct?
I do not belong to a tribe.
Okay.
Um, uh, I have contacted the elders of
Ah,
the our
okay.
certain tribes, because we don't do anything without an elder really, you know, um, giving the go ahead,
Right,
right?
right.
Right. So Talma create or Talma Run With Me Talma, which if you I don't know if you've noticed or not, but all of my songs pretty much have Talma in them.
A minute.
But Run With Me Talma, that song I sent to the elders, and got a reply back on that they liked it and that I should do it.
Okay, great.
So I went ahead and did it. If they wouldn't have said okay, I don't know what I would have done.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that. So it was the head of the Cherokee tribe that you contacted, or was it something bigger than that?
No, it's the Cherokee tribe. They know about it, and I'm sure that it's gone through all of them now. Um, but that's uh, that's just part of my background. You know, I'm actually um, and I hope I don't get in trouble for saying this, but I'm actually I think eighth cousins with Elvis Presley,
Yeah, really? Now there's a tidbit if I ever heard one.
and not removed, so that's pretty much direct.
That was
But
his grandmother, right? Through his grandmother?
yeah,
Hmm.
I don't know if anybody knows this, but Elvis's grandmother was Cherokee, and I guess that's the connection. So that would be where the Cherokee part comes from. And then that's on my my mom's side, and then on my father's side, it's Malmac Indian. I think I'm saying that right. And that's the other part of Indian that I am.
Hmm.
And my dad was actually 50%. So
Right. Wow. That makes you a quarter, right?
yeah,
So it works. Yeah. And where are they from? I mean, they are West Coast or East Coast or
Canada.
oh, yeah. I've got some Canadian listeners too.
Yeah, and that's kind of a I've gotten started um with videos from kids that are missing in Canada
Right.
and showing them here. I really have a big thing about that with the kids, because I really don't think that where they come up missing from, they're really no longer in that area after, so
Yeah.
many years.
Yeah.
I mean, so reaching out to, the world is what I'm trying to do here.
Yeah.
And I was able to do that because of the first song, because the first song went worldwide. So, by having worldwide fans, that gives me
Yeah.
fans that are,
Exactly.
you know, that are all over the world,
Right.
and spreading my videos and spreading my, music, and also in the same way are showing the kids.
Right.
So this is really something I'm just,
Yeah. Excuse
you
me.
know, keeping at. You know,
Yeah.
I
Absolutely.
mean, I've had a lot of offers, with a lot of, really professional people, and I'm
Mhm.
not going to mention who they are, to do things, but, um, if it works now, if I mess with it, then, what could happen, and, right now this is working.
Yeah.
Being able to show the kids, to, other countries and other, places, and not only there but here in the United States as
Right.
well, you
Exactly.
know is, a big deal for me, and for the kids.
Right.
So if I go with like a major, producer, or, a record label, that might interfere with that ability to actually be able to,
Right.
get that, to keep that going. And
Absolutely.
uh,
I can I add a little personal uh, plug here?
sure.
I have two Cherokee grandchildren, great grandchildren as well. Had two boys, and the first generation, my granddaughter and her brother are both Cherokee. Their father's Cherokee, and they live in Asheville. They live in the they come from the Asheville area, but they live in the Charlotte area. So that was my interest, and I'm writing a song called "Warriors of the Cherokee," and and James is going to be one of the backup vocalists on that recording. So, anyway, I just wanted to give you. I lived on White Earth Reservation for some time during the early 70s when there was a great deal of trouble on Wounded Knee in South Dakota. And I became really involved with the whole issue because where I was, there was a presence from the American Indian movement, and they things are kind of hot right about that time. So from about 1974. So that was my connection with James when I first met him. Was we had an interest in common, and the thing that brought him here as a guest, other than his music, which was enough right there, was the fact that when I was on the reservation, it was widely known that young girls were missing. They would come up missing, and nobody knew where they were. And for whatever reason, often they weren't found, or if they were found, they were found dead. And so that was my interest. And he's not only has James provided an outlet for that information being out there, but for as many children in the United States that are missing as well. So I do thank you for bringing that to our attention, James. And I hope this goes out on YouTube and other people who often tune in to my programs see it.
Well, maybe we should turn the interview around, and let's talk a little bit more about your being a musician.
No, you don't want to hear about me. I just started this during COVID, which opens that's a segue into that, which is something I usually ask.
Well,
What made you?
everybody, Joy here is a really good musician. I mean, if you get a chance to catch her, you should.
Thank you. I don't know. High praise. I'm not sure I accept that. I still working at it. I work at it all the time. But I do want to say that I do have this new song coming out, and I hope you'll watch it. It'll probably be late fall, early January before I get it produced. But I when I write songs, I often write songs about my family. And this is about my daughter and her relationship when she married a Cherokee man. And James will find out tomorrow a little bit more about that. So, anyway, that's coming. I do have this program, and they've kind of changed the rules. So, I'm hoping this is also showing live on Matured Musicians as well as my business page and YouTube. So, what do you see? Back to you. What do you see as a goal? Um, how would you measure? I mean, how you measure this, but um, do you ever get any feedback about how successful this program is? Whether any of these people were ever found, or any feedback from the people themselves who have been found?
Well, I have gotten feedback as far as I think I've seen this person. Um, I haven't gotten feedback yet as to someone being found, but ultimately that would be that's the idea.
Yeah.
Um, that's that, and that's what I'm hoping to be able to do.
Mhm.
Um, and there are like it's really kind of it's difficult for me to see all of these kids.
Yeah.
I mean, the amount of kids is kind of hard on my soul. Really.
How many you think are on your list, or is there any way to measure that?
Well, there's no way to measure that, but I would say that I have at least 50 of them that I've. It's the number could be more than that. That I've
You
actually
know what?
have you know on my videos.
Okay.
Um, and the number just keeps growing because I go and search these kids.
Right. Huh. How do you
Um,
do
and
that?
and
Oh, how do you
also
search?
and also I've had people contact me with kids that they want to get on the list. So I mean that's something
How do
that's
you
been going
find
on.
them? How do you
Huh?
find them? How do you find these kids, James? How do you find who's missing? I mean, is there like a national register, or what is there that?
Just certain websites. I mean,
Oh,
that's where a lot of this has come from. Is just certain websites. I mean, and it wasn't just okay. Let's just do this. I mean, let me back up a little because before even I started doing the videos, um, I had the song. I got the song going. I'm trying to be fast. Um, and, and I got the song going, and then it turned into okay. Well, I have all of these people, that are on my music.
yeah,
So I decided. I
yeah.
said. I said. You know what? I'm gonna start. Seeing if I can't do a video with missing kids. Because I mean that's why not?
Yeah, exactly.
So I contacted the police department, talked to policemen, and kind of felt it out. As far as are the kids, can I show these kids?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
it's legal to show the kids. And that's what I really kind of wanted to get kind of set up was to be able to do that legally, you know, um,
right,
and that's where the nonprofit part comes in, is to be able to do this legally. So I mean, those are the steps that I kind of have had to take, and learn as I go along the way.
right. Wow.
And we can do this for hours, I think, because I mean, it's there's a lot to do with this. I mean,
Yeah,
I mean, as far as the, learning how to make these videos you know, and to do it cheaply, it's that's not easy.
right. And to manage the websites.
And manage the websites. I mean, we're not talking about just one site. We're talking about other sites, as far as the eye can see. I mean, if you look me up on Google, you'll be able to, I mean, see what that reach is.
Right.
It's pretty, sizable.
Yeah. I'm thinking about it must have been about a year ago that we met and started talking at Oxford. And I understand that you went through some life changes, and one of the things I was wondering was, did any of this get sparked by COVID when we got locked down and things were as bleak as they seem to be in the music world, or did this happen after or before?
Well, COVID almost took me down. So I know that we kind of lost contact there, but uh, I actually had a stroke.
No, I didn't know that, James.
Yeah, it was. I had caught COVID for the first time, and it was in the very beginning, and it was
Sorry.
very rough on me. It took me for it was about probably about 6 months before I actually got going again.
Wow. Was the stroke was brought on by the COVID?
Yeah,
Or
they couldn't. See, I was in the beginning of COVID, and I was actually in the same hospital with the first patient that was
wow,
um, that had COVID. I was actually 3 doors down from him,
wow.
but they didn't diagnose me with COVID because I was already over it. Go figure.
Yeah.
But
Well, I had that. We had played a band. I was with the Bothell Senior Volunteer Band during that time, and we had just played at the Life Center in December. January, I got sick, and I think it was in that area of December. Maybe it was November, but it was somewhere in that area when it was first beginning, and people didn't really know about it. And I was so sick. And the very first time that I was able to go out in public was the 15th of February to a jam in Duval. And, they were asking me these weird questions because I knew I felt the way I felt was like nothing I've ever felt before. And they kept saying, do you have any relatives? Have you gone to China? Do you have any relatives from China? Yada, yada. And I'm like, what the heck are they talking about? And it wasn't, this was in January. So in March, when they came out with all this lockdown stuff, it would totally surprise me. I did get over it. I didn't get a stroke. And I'm
yeah,
sorry to hear that you did. And I didn't lose anybody, but people around me were getting it. And one of the musicians that does go to Oxford got very sick with it. It took him a while to recover. But luckily, to the best of my knowledge, we haven't really lost anybody yet. So in the music world.
yeah. Um, but it was tough. I mean, I had a neurologist. I'll elaborate a little. I had a neurologist and a doctor standing at the end of my bed. The doctor was saying he's plugging up, and the neurologist was saying he doesn't have the K factor in his blood.
What is
But
that?
because COVID, they didn't find out. I didn't find this out until later. COVID coagulates your blood.
Really?
Yeah. So that's how
Wow.
you end up. That's how you end up having a stroke from it.
Yeah. I was a candidate for that. Luckily, that did not happen.
Yeah.
I guess I must Great Spirit was looking out after me.
Well, I believe that it wasn't a full on stroke, but it was just like a micro stroke. But
Yeah. Yeah,
it's
but it's a
really,
stroke. That's still a stroke, and it weakens your ability. You could have, weakens your ability in the future. So
yeah.
not something you take lightly. So were
No.
you depressed? How long were you in the hospital, and were you depressed during that time?
Was I depressed? No, not really.
Oh, I was.
Um, I finally got a break. To tell you the truth, I mean, I've always been a truthful guy. You know, um, I finally got a break, and then the only thing was is that I tried to get back because they wanted me to go to rehab, you
Ah,
know, and rehabilitate myself,
yeah, yeah.
and I couldn't do it because when I had the stroke and I had COVID, I had the stroke, and then by the time they wanted me to come back in, they said you can't go in the hospital
Oh,
because they
why?
locked down the hospitals because of COVID.
Oh, of course. Yeah,
Right.
lovely.
So I had it scheduled to put a motor in my Jeep, and get all this done, right? And so my rehabilitation was as I put the motor in my Jeep.
The motor.
Yeah, I put the motor in my Jeep. That's how I rehabilitated myself.
Okay, you put your car repair. Okay, whole thing. I gotcha.
Yeah,
Okay,
so
yeah,
that was how I
that was how you
rehabilitated myself.
rehabilitated.
Yeah,
So once during that period of time, did you ever was Tom already? It was still in the works. You were still working on bringing it together, correct?
right,
Yeah.
right. And so basically what happened after that was is that, like I said, I tried to get it into that mode of starting to create videos.
Right.
I kept creating the videos, and then
They did
finally,
to me.
yeah, and that I have done that for you, haven't I? And so these videos, I just kept creating them and kept creating them, and and then one step led to another, and then it became a nonprofit, and then it just keeps going from there, you
Yeah.
know.
So
Um,
it's all during COVID too. I mean, this is beginning to build up at that point.
um, Actually, yeah, it was building up after COVID. I had a lot of time on my hands, you know, because you couldn't go back to work,
Right.
you couldn't do nothing,
Right.
and so it ended up with a lot of time on my hands, and so even after work had gone back to work, they still wouldn't let me because I had a stroke,
Yeah.
so it just kept going from there.
Yeah.
But eventually I did return to work, and and things got better. But it was like just took that time to kind of evaluate things, and I have a thing on my phone, it's and words come into my head, and I can't remember 2 days later.
Yeah.
So
I get it.
yeah, I use my phone, and when like something would come into my head, about it, I just put it in the files,
Yeah.
and keep going with the files until I get this going, and then keep doing that, and that's how I build up the
Yeah.
words, you
Excellent.
know, and I just use that as a tool, and so I just kept doing that, and then you know I got a hold of my studio, or my studio actually got a hold of me. They called me and said, hey, I got some free time, what are you doing?
Ah,
and
cool.
and I said, well, I do have a plan, you know and I got some music, and he's all, well, come in,
Right.
so I told him, I said, look, I need you know I need a drummer that can do you know nines and tens. And he was like, nines and
Nine,
tens.
10. So it is
Well,
that.
I mean, that's, you're hitting it that many times.
Huh.
And that's what kind of sparked that song. And then I I didn't have the right guitar on me, because the way it came out, um I said, hey, I got this, I know what to do with this, but I need a bass. And so one of the other guys that was at the studio says, I have a bass in my car. So
Mhm.
he went out to the car and got his bass so that I could play the bass to that.
Wow.
And
Oh,
so that's how the song was born.
I'll lay it down.
Yeah, and then I put my words to it, and that was it.
Now I know you said not to mention this, so I'm going to mention it and how my connection to it was. Um, After I sung my songs and I'd met James, he told me about a man named Kevin Prophet. And at the time, he had a broadcast or radio program. I cannot remember something about Cherokee music or something. I don't remember what it was at the time. And I started sending some of my music, and I heard it played on that program, and it was free, and it was great. Kevin was really good to me. I'm blessed by that. Eventually, that involved other things, and the radio station split into two, and so now thanks to James, I have put my music on a Spirit Radio, which is free. Any independent artist can put their music on there, and it's called 103.1 Spirit Radio, I believe. Am I correct, James?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, you are very correct.
And all kinds of genres I play. It's not just one genre, it's anything out there. And it depends upon Kevin's been ill and he needs donations. But if you ever should want to put your music out there, he'd be more than happy to do it. I know that there's another radio station out there, but at this time I don't use it. So I've stuck with Kevin, and he does there from time to time. He does let people know how to get to him. And I cannot remember how is it the how you contact us by email, but we have is there not a group on that radio station that
Yeah,
that
you can go on Facebook and look for 103.1
one?
Spirit Radio,
Yeah.
and you can find Spirit Radio, and so kind of come out of the box a little with what you're talking about. Basically, as a musician, you want to take a stance of never quit.
Yeah. Well, I'm close.
and not let anything stop you.
Oh.
But so with that in mind, it's basically, I'm playing on a lot of different radio stations.
Oh, I didn't know.
And the reason why I'm playing on a lot of different radio stations, and some of them are right here in Seattle and this area. But Tulalip has got a radio station, and it's played on there, and it plays on there.
You know how owns it, or is it the tribe?
It's a tribe ran radio station, but also too, you have to, as a musician, because you have a lot of people that are going to try to take advantage of you.
Yeah.
But so what I try to tell people is that that are other musicians, don't let them pick you, you pick them.
Yeah.
And that goes a long ways, because if you contact a radio station, you say, hey, you know what, I'd like to get on your station, I want you to play my music.
Right.
They won't do it. But if you do it in a different way, show that, hey, this is me, this is what I'm doing, this is, you show them a video, you show them another video, you show them your music, you show them other music, and then all of a sudden they say, hey, at 4:00 on 10 p.m. on Friday night, we're going to play your song.
Cool. Yeah.
And that's how the whole thing gets started. Yeah. I mean, it's that
we need to talk.
Well, that's the whole thing, is that, you cannot give up. That's, you have to continuously make yourself in a better position. And that's how you get, more listeners. That's how you get more people involved in what you're doing. I would love to be at a point where, as a musician, to do my work in, the field of, I'm a nonprofit. So,
Right.
Fundraisers, showing these kids, that would be awesome to me. I just haven't figured out how to do it yet.
Do that.
But give me time,
I've been doing this program for 3 years, and the only thing I've gained financially out of it is $5. But I sure met a lot of musicians, and I hope that this program has helped them get their foot in and get into the business. It's not always easy to get gigs when everybody is competing for them.
Well,
I don't do much.
The thing is that the bigger you get, I'm telling you, all you do is you get the money and it goes right back into your music.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, right now all for me, all is coming out, and I don't know if you know Lynn's Horn. Somebody always tells me, No, that's not how you do it. You're supposed to make money and not lose money. And I'm thinking, yeah, well, Lynn, I need something, but it isn't that. Anyway, to move on from that, what are you planning on making any more songs or recording? I know how expensive that is. Are you planning recording anything in the future?
Um, I really don't work that way.
Ah,
The way I work is, I have music. Um, when I'm comfortable and I'm in the position where my mind says it's time.
ah,
That's really kind of how I work. I mean, that's I mean, a lot of musicians will go in and just record anything, but I mean, I personally, that whole perfection thing, has to be kind of in play there, as far as, when I'm ready to record something.
right.
So, I mean, when I'm comfortable, that's when I
Yeah.
start recording.
Yeah. Mine usually come to me. I went to where I'm taking you on Wednesday to record for a track. Um, I was riding home, and all of a sudden, a song came to me. It's called "Devil on My Shoulder," and the words and the music came out, and I actually kept repeating it till I could get home and write it down. But I actually wrote the chorus for it in my head on the way home. And so that's the next thing after this song is done that I'll record. But happens that way sometimes. You just get that inspiration out of nowhere.
And yeah, and that's it's hard because sometimes you're going down the road.
Yeah, yeah.
I've had to actually pull over and
Mm,
go, wait a minute,
mm,
I got to write this down.
right. I didn't pull over, but I did keep saying it over and over again until I got home.
Yeah,
I won't recommend that.
yeah, yeah. That'll wear you out.
Yeah.
Um, but it's like I just want to everybody to know that there is music. I have a lot of music, and I do have the abilities and I do have songs. And they will be coming out. It's just that it's like you know it, I have to have something from the right timing, because it's like I was set and ready to do this whole thing with Talma Crazy and release it in February.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I had it set up with DistroKid, was ready for the release. I set up Spotify, and I ended up calling the whole thing off.
Yeah. Well,
I
timing
mean,
is everything. No
well, I
matter
mean,
what.
it's the videos with the kids.
Yeah.
You have to ask yourself. I mean, do you? What's the best way for it? I mean,
Right.
and yeah, and things are changing progressively.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's like um, it could be different, a couple of days from now. But
Yeah.
the more attention I get from, I'm not going to mention any names, but just we'll say, talented people, you know, um, I get a lot of attention from these people,
Yeah.
and they're into what I'm doing. So, I just hope that at some point, someone's going to take a hold of this as much as I do, and getting involved in as much as I am, you
Right.
know, and that's a good possibility. I mean, um, because of what's been happening already.
Right.
I mean,
Hmm.
I started a Facebook a month ago, and
Yeah. How did that go? I never heard the end of
it's
that.
and it's already up to 700
Oh my
followers.
gosh. Yeah.
I mean, I have actually two Facebooks. So I guess you have the professional one, and then you have the one that I just started. But and it just really takes off in Facebook, and Facebook is great. I
Yeah.
mean, because of the reach.
Yeah.
You know, if you want to reach people, you can do it through Facebook.
Right. Yeah. I have. There's three things on Facebook that I would recommend for every musician. A lot of people don't like Facebook, but I do. And there you have a business page, which is mine, Country Hop by Joanne Lageray. That's what we're reviewing, the major place we're viewing this video. The second one is called a group, and my group is Matured Musicians, where all of my musician information resides. Bands and people I know do post their gigs and so forth, new music, whatever. And then I have an actual Facebook page where I don't know whether I think I'm going to have to post this after because I don't think it goes live. But so you have 3 opportunities to reach people. It does cost a little bit, but it's not too bad. Excuse me, I forget what they call that when you put money in there to extend it out to certain groups of people and to promote yourself. And
Monetization?
meta
Monetizing?
something, yeah.
To
Well,
monetize?
meta something anyway, yeah. It's part of Facebook. And I've never really paid a lot of money for that, but I did use Reverb Nation, and it cost me $750 in 1 month.
Oh boy.
Yeah, hi, and I didn't even know that was happening until I had to pay it. So, Reverb Nation gave me great returns, but that's a lot of money, and I don't have that to spend. I'm not working, and so I have to go where I can get the most exposure for the least amount of money. That's the way it is.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But
I agree.
you also have another area where you post things, and it's called DistroKid.
That's my distribution. That's
Tell
where
me about that.
music
How's that working for you?
that's the music distribution. DistroKid is like a CD baby.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and that's basically where my music comes from. Um, they have a lot of tools in there. I don't know if a lot of musicians really realize that, but there's a lot of things that are coming up that are coming into play with DistroKid,
Okay.
um, and
I need to check that out.
also on Spotify. If you go into Spotify, um, as an artist, they have tools in there that you can use in Spotify to help you with your music. There's a lot of different places that are and a lot of different things that you can do to help with your videos, with your mastering. There's fingerprinting. You can actually take a song, fingerprint it, and anybody that plays it comes back to DistroKid. So I mean, these things that should really be more out there for people to know about.
Yeah.
Um,
They're not.
yeah, and I mean, it takes a fair amount of reading into this stuff to actually, get an idea of what you can actually do.
Right.
Because I mean, they don't really tell you. They don't
Yeah.
say, "Hey, why don't you do this?"
You
Uh,
and I have different areas that we're promoting at. And sometimes when I talk to you and you're trying to tell me about these things and how to navigate this stuff, it's like we're speaking 2 different languages.
I know,
Yeah.
I know.
But we do get it. We do get it still sooner or later. And obviously, this is a success because it's being broadcast and we're not being cut out like the last time, James.
Exactly. I mean, we get better. I mean, that's what you do is you get better at what you're doing. And it's just a matter of time, before you actually figure out how this works. There's a lot of promoters and stuff. I mean, oh my God, you wouldn't believe how many hits I get on Facebook and on Twitter and on all these different places, YouTube, everywhere. It comes from everywhere. For this amount of money, I can do this. Well, I mean, for the average person, yeah, I would say, maybe they need that, but
Right.
to but you can learn this how to do it yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Yeah,
this isn't something
exactly.
Yeah. This
Yeah.
is something we can learn. I mean, and that's what I'm always trying to teach you, Joy. Um,
Yeah. Well, over my head.
I'm gonna die trying.
Don't die. I have some comments on here. What we're being watched by a friend of mine, Rose, and she comes to some of my gigs, but I mean my appearances at jams, and she's been a supporter of matured musicians and all musicians. So we want to say hi to Rose.
Hi, Rose.
It's James Rose. And then Brian Harris is my international interviewee. Brian lives in, I believe, Brian, correct me if I'm wrong. I believe he lives in the Vancouver area, but I could be wrong. It's Canada's a big
Hi,
place.
Brian.
And he said, we use DistroKid too. They are very good sending it out to most major platforms. That's a CD Baby does for me. Um, and I think that there are some things that DistroKid does that CD Baby doesn't. So I'm going to look into it, and I'll be asking you probably for help. I'm pulling my hair out.
And I'll be here.
But I do want to let you know that Brian has a ranch in that area, and he's also a musician, and he's becoming quite successful actually, and he's been offered a record deal. So hopefully I can get Brian on here and his drummer wife from his band
Nice.
on here again, so he can tell us about that great opportunity. But he has a big bunkhouse, and he's offered to put up any of the bands that come to Canada to play or on business, whatever. So Brian Harris would be the man to look up.
Okay.
Talk with. He's on Facebook, and he certainly made a comment here today. So thank you, Brian, and good luck in your endeavors. And I hope to have your wife very soon. Anyway, with that, do you have? We have about 9 minutes left. Do you have a place? I know you do, where people can see you and hear you now.
Yeah, you can see me and hear me on Facebook.
No, physically.
Physically. Well, I'm playing at Maltby Pizza. I mean, you can come down to Maltby Pizza and see me play every Thursday night. I've been doing that now.
The time.
Oh, it's we play from 6 to 9.
Yeah. Who's hosting that? Can you tell the people here who hosts it?
It's Doug Rusk.
Yeah. So all three of us are met at Oxford salon.
We did.
In a restaurant, yes. So it's the Homish. If you get a chance on Tuesday nights, Jerry Batista has a jam from 6 to 9, where a lot of us have gone and met each other. So if you're interested in doing that, James does make an appearance there every now and then too.
Yes, I do. Yep. Yes, I do.
Okay. And you can find Maltby Pizza by going into your search engine, either asking it now or typing it, Maltby Pizza. And it's, I believe, what address it puts in Snohomish? I think it's Snohomish.
It's 8813 Maltby Road and Snohomish.
Yeah. So every Thursday night. So check it out. Now I do want to ask you also about any other place that they might find you. So I don't even know if you have a website, because I always find you on YouTube and you're my friend. So we converse on Messenger and Facebook. But is there any place else out there that that you can be seen or heard or contacted by, where people know where you're going to be other than Maltby at any given time?
Well, I just say, check out my my Facebook. Because I usually, if I'm going to do something, you can see something on there. And then the other thing is that I am setting up a website. So if you um get on the website, um great, but that'll probably come from Facebook. And there's different places too. I forget what they are, but um where I do post when I'm going to do something. Um, and
Okay.
that was on something else, but I was checking that out today. Um, but I had just started with them, so um, there are things coming. There are things coming to where it'll be a little easier for people to know where I'm at.
Okay, great.
That is something I'm working on.
And had another question, and it keeps escaping me. Doggone it. Anyway, so do you have in your experience? I know there are Native musicians, Native Indigenous people, Native Americans, who are musicians, and I'd like to tap into that and interview some of them. Is there any recommendations that you can make where I can bring them on the program? At least think about it.
Well, yeah, I'm gonna have to think that over. Because I mean, there are musicians, but to get them to come on,
Yeah.
that's really the tough part. I mean, I don't know if you've noticed this or not, but I talk to a lot of musicians and say, hey, this would be great for you. You would, you get some kind of, publicity. There's good things that come from this. And, I've even told them about you, and you've said, yeah, I would love to have that artist. And
Yes.
they just don't do it. Um,
Don't
but
stop. Keep
I'm not
telling them.
I'm not giving up.
Good.
Sooner or
Persistent.
later, these people are going to come on this show.
All right. And the other thing that I wanted to ask you, if I found what I, I'm going through the list of people that are missing, and I find someone that I know about, uh, probably not because it's not from here, but if I did, how would I just contact the authorities, or how do I reach out if I've seen one of these children somewhere?
Well, a good place for you to do that is just post to my Facebook.
Oh,
You post to my Facebook, and I'm aware of that person right away.
okay.
Um, that's I mean, a lot of people, oh, you can't post on his. No, you can post on mine all you want with missing kids. And once you do that, then I'm aware that that kid exists, and I'll do my best to get him on something.
All right. Sounds like a good plan. So, in closing, I would like to know specifically, if you could, and I'm kind of putting you on the spot here. I know you've mentioned it during this program, but if you had a 5-year plan and you sat down and were trying to plan out where you'd like to be and where you'd like to go with this whole thing, and it just keeps getting bigger, bigger once you start something like this. Um, what would you say the direction that you're going in, or what is a goal that you've set to reach, or
Well,
have?
that's really easy for me.
Oh, okay.
Before I die, I would like to be in a crowd, have a crowd of at least more than 500.
Uh, can you explain that
Is
just a
is
little?
that is that is that like a really, that's not much to ask for, you know, and to play in front of people and to tell your stories
Ah,
is really the biggest thing for me.
yeah.
Um, I have my stories that I tell, just like any musician would have the stories that he tells. Um, and it's the connection with the people um, that are in the crowd. I mean, that's my drive.
Yeah,
Um, that's what I'm a musician. That's
yeah,
what I do.
yeah.
You know, um, so that would be the main thing that I would want.
I hear that, and I'm hoping for that for you. I think Maltese a good start because the Oxford is kind of enclosed in the sense that they're musicians and band people that go in there, so they all know each other, and it gets pretty loud in there during jam night,
Well,
and then
if
they're fans.
The Oxford is like, for me, it's coming home.
Yeah,
That's, I mean, I go
definitely.
there because I'm a musician and I know all the other musicians. I
However, that's the portion of it's kind of closed because we're all musicians. But if you want to get new people and new fans, you have to be visible, right?
right.
And Maltby is a good start in getting visible since at this point you're not gigging. Is that correct?
Well, I can gig. I mean, it depends on um my focus. I mean, it's
Takes a lot of time.
all of this takes a lot of time.
Yeah,
Um, you know, uh, and I get overwhelmed actually
yeah,
because of everything that I have to
yeah,
do. I mean, it's not like, I have this simple life. People think you're just a musician, you go play. No, it doesn't work that way.
yeah.
you know, um, I'm a dedicated musician, and you know, a dedicated professional musician that is, working every day to get this to people. Uh,
Right.
that's,
Yeah.
what we do.
Hi. You know what? We've already reached an hour. We can, yeah, we did it. So I hope you get your 500 people in your exposure. I really do support your program in every possible way, and I do want to thank you for coming on, James. And when things change down the road, which I know a year from now is going to be all different, at least 6 months, if not a year, I'll have you back again. Okay.
Awesome. I would love to be here.
All right.
All
Well,
right.
see you Wednesday when we go to the studio. And you're going
Okay.
to do my vocals for me. Perfect. All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Thank you again, James Crawford Talma, for being
Bye,
with me.
everybody.
All right. Take care. I'll see you down the road, James,
Yeah, you
Wednesday.
know it. You know it.
Okay. Now that's it for me. Um, Next week I have a guest. I have a band actually. A good friend of mine. I always get her name wrong, but her name is Myra Claps and Tom. And so do tune in. We'll see you all down the road. Thank you for joining us today. Goodbye. Take care and stay safe.